Okay. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Minawave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations. Today, we have Bev Mackenzie, and she is an amazing woman, and I'm so excited to have her on our show today. Hi, Bev, welcome in.
Hi, Robin. It's good to be here with you.
Yes, yes. Let me tell you a little bit about Bev. Bev has been on a deeply personal 25-year journey with psychiatric medications and their safe tapering off process. After years of surviving on prescriptions that left her with brain fog, weight gain, and disconnection from her true self, she discovered a new path to healing. Inspired by Dr. Kelly Brogan's Vital Mind Reset protocol, she learned that true wellness isn't just about getting off medications, it's about rebuilding trust with your body. Today, she supports women navigating through similar transitions by providing compassionate, integrative coaching that focuses on nutrition, gut health, nervous system regulation, and creating a deep sense of safety throughout the healing process. Thank you, Bev. Welcome in. What an amazing story. How did you get here?
Thanks, Robin. Well, I'm a mom whose postpartum journey drove me to be prescribed a psychiatric medication 31 years ago when my daughter was just 6 months old. And a potential physiological issue was present that was not investigated at the time. I'm actually a medical technologist who read holistic psychiatrist Dr. Kelly Brogan's book called A Mind of Your Own in 2016, and it changed my life. I took her program called Vital Mind Reset in 2018, and that put a signal of safety in place to enable the tapering of 6 psychiatric medications in 6 years. I then went to nutrition school because I realized the importance of whole foods and became certified to coach the Vital Mind Reset protocol. I now help other women implement the nutrition, meditation, detoxification, movement, and being in nature program to help restore vitality and regain energy.
Wow, that is amazing. This is probably the first time that we have really talked about um, psychiatric medicines and just how many women really are on it. It's like a silent conversation that is, in my mind, I haven't really talked to very many women. So, you said that it was like 1 in 4 women are on some kind of prescription medicine?
Right. Yeah, perimenopausal or many menopausal women are on some, at least one, some many more than one. And I think the perfect storm of chronic stress and hormone changes during perimenopause. We're eating a processed food diet, and we have a medical system that's designed to treat symptoms quickly rather than address root causes. And women are juggling so much: careers, families, aging parents. And when they go to their doctor feeling anxious or depressed, a prescription seems like the fastest solution. The tragedy is really that 64% of patients say that the doctors never warned them about the side effects or how difficult these medications can be to discontinue. And we're not asking deeper questions. Why are women struggling? What's happening in their bodies? And what do they really need to heal?
Mm, good questions. Really, really good questions. And when in working with women, what do you what do you see when you're working with your clients as far
Mm.
as why they're on the medications? Are they helping? Do they realize how to get off of them? The side effects? I mean, tell me a little bit more about, that mindset.
I think the main problem is we're dealing with massive hormonal shifts during perimenopause, and most doctors aren't trained to recognize how hormone imbalances affect mood.
Mhm.
And, we add to that decades of chronic stress, again, processed food, and they all create inflammation. There's lack of community support and a culture that tells women just to push through everything. When
Mm.
a woman finally reaches out for help, she's often at her breaking point, and a prescription feels like the quickest relief. And we're seeing the effects of generational trauma, environmental toxins, and a disconnection from natural rhythms. It's not that we're broken, it's just that we're living in a way that's not aligned with how our bodies are designed to function.
Mm. So true. So true. I understand. Yeah, it's amazing when we hit perimenopause and our bodies, minds are changing so much. We carry a lot of stress, and we're trying to have conversations now. And thankfully, there are good conversations now around menopause. Even as much as 5 to 7, 10 years ago, menopause wasn't even a word that we were really using or talking about. And thankfully, there are now a lot of special doctors that specialize in women's menopause, helping us to understand better education, much better support systems that are out there. It is no longer, something that is taboo or in the closet, so to speak. It's coming out, it's being talked about. And I think this part of it, talking about the medications, is so important. This is the first time, once again, that we've talked about it on this show. We talked about creating a signal of safety. Can you tell me about a little bit about that process and what does that look like?
Sure, that's something that where we're building multiple layers of support before we even begin touching the medication. So someone might realize, I don't feel well on this. I don't know that I need it anymore. My lifestyle is at a place where I could possibly begin to taper. So it includes stabilizing blood sugar with regular nutrient dense meals. We heal gut inflammation, establish a consistent sleep routine, incorporate gentle movement, and practice nervous system regulation through breath work or meditation. And, I provide constant communication to my clients through messaging, and we have regular check ins. And we use the framework of the Vital Mind Reset Protocol, which is like building a strong foundation before you renovate a house. You want to make sure that everything's solid before you make the change.
Hmm. Hmm. Because coming off of medicines is it can be very scary. And also too, I would like to say that we are not prescribing. This is all something that needs to be done with your doctor. Is that right?
Right.
Right.
Problem is, medical doctors know how to prescribe very well, but they do not know how to de-prescribe. And
Mm,
some of them are learning that there are micro tapering methods, and there's a particular method called hyperbolic tapering, where when you get to the lower doses, you go very much slower because your brain has got used to having the drug in its system, and you do not want to go from, jumping off a cliff. So I've just received recently the Maudsley Deprescribing Guidelines textbook that's been written by a psychiatrist who himself tapered off medication after 25 years and struggled desperately. So he's developed for all the different antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications a protocol. And you can do it in three different ways, a fast, a slow, or a slower, depending on how your symptoms manifest. Because symptoms are to be expected. Your brain has been reliant on this drug for so long.
mm, mm. And so this would be something that you could take to your doctor and work with,
And
have your doctor
right,
work with you on it.
yes. I mean,
Oh,
you might have to educate them because they're not educated in this way.
yes. Yes, I think that our medical system is definitely going through its changes, and doctors have to realize that there's a lot more education that needs to happen for women in menopause and understanding the menopause story so that they can prescribe not only healthy, right prescriptions, but also natural ways of being able to manage your menopause symptoms. And that now there are a lot of different healing modalities that help women through the menopause time in their life, and the menopause roller coaster, as we call it. So it's it's good to know this is a good topic to be talking about. Because I mean, you come from experience of being on these medications and firsthand of what they were doing to you, right?
Yeah, very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about the connection between nutrition and gut health when you're on these different types of medications.
Well, 90% of our serotonin is actually manufactured in our gut.
Mm.
And the serotonin myth actually exists. We do not have a serotonin deficiency in our brain. We were told that as a marketing ploy, I think, to get pharmaceuticals and particularly these psychiatric medications on board. And I mean, it's been going since the first drug Prozac came out 20 or 30 years ago. The the digestive system is very important here. And many of us have become sensitive to things like gluten, dairy, corn, soy, sugar. And the corn, soy, and wheat in particular, very often are sprayed with glyphosate. And even if you're drinking dairy that comes from cows that has been eating those particular grains, it's in their milk.
Mm.
And a lot of people I've found, if we take especially gluten and dairy out initially, notice big improvements in their gut and in their mood. And that's what I found. 15 years ago is when I started taking those two out. My mood improved dramatically.
Mm. Wow, that is really interesting. They say the gut is the queen of the body, so if she's
Yeah.
not healthy, then it's connected to so many other things in your body for sure. Yes, our diets are not. It's scary to think where our food comes from and what it's being fed, and you really have to do a lot of educating yourself to understand where what is organic, what is in our dairy and in our cheese, the grains, the things that are being put on, sprayed on our grains. Oh my goodness. It can definitely be a little bit of a scary subject. That's why it's really important to learn, educate, find out where your foods are coming from. Uh, yes.
Yes.
One of the things that I have done recently, just for myself, is buying farm fresh eggs. We have several people around here that sell fresh eggs, and oh my goodness, there's such a difference between if you buy them in a store versus buying them from somebody that's actually raising their own chickens and feeding them organic foods. The yolks are just this beautiful golden color, and the omegas in there are just so good. But that's just, one thing. It's just one thing, it's small steps, right?
Yes. Very much. Yeah. And, it's bringing good things in rather than taking, the bad things out. Just keep replacing as you go along. You don't have to throw all your fridge or your pantry out in one go. Just start replacing one thing at a time.
Yes, absolutely. Now, you talked a little bit about trigger foods. Can you tell me a little bit more about
Yes.
that?
So again, those are the gluten. So anything that contains wheat or any of the grains that could be implicated there. Um, Dairy, including cow dairy. Somehow sheep and goat dairy is not as impactful. So
Hmm.
people have found they've removed dairy, but then been able to later replace it. And I haven't done as well with sheep dairy, and I haven't tried much goat either. I don't do any dairy, and I haven't really missed it. Initially, I did, but I don't miss it now, and it upsets my gut. So I'd rather just do without. And then sugar in any form, mostly processed sugar. So honey and maple syrup are two that are allowed in small quantities. And the part of the Vital Mind Reset protocol has a whole diet section. So for 30 days, you actually exclusively go on this whole foods nutritious diet, which excludes these 5 items: gluten, dairy, corn, soy, and sugar.
Mm, mm. That's great. And yes, a little detox like that can really make the difference for your not only your emotion but your physical body too. And it's so amazing when you go just 5 days just taking sugar out. You know, it's like your brain wakes up.
You
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I noticed a very big difference. And in fact, I had some sweet iced tea the other day, which I was not used to. And I mean, I could taste it immediately. And I developed a headache
Hmm.
because I don't eat much sugar at all.
Yes.
So it was
Salt
really
is
interesting.
another thing too. I've taken salt out of my diet. And it's amazing because if I eat anything, accidentally that's processed, I can immediately taste the salt, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yes.
it's really when you start really paying attention to what food that you're feeding yourself, you really start paying attention to how your feelings and your emotion and your body is feeling and your sleep too. Your sleep habits will actually start changing as well. Yes. Um, so let's see, how can you, okay, pause. Helping women reconnect with themselves. So when you're working with your clients, how do you help them to reconnect?
So, I think my pivotal moment came when I realized that I was like no longer living. I was just surviving, and I felt disconnected from my true self. And I realized after doing the protocol that I had hoped that there was another way. This journey taught me that healing isn't just about getting off of medications, it's about building the trust with your body. And, when I work with clients now, I understand that there's fear, the uncertainty, and the courage that it takes to consider this path. I never minimize their experience because I've walked every step of that journey myself. But I think the hardest part is the fear of the unknown. But we don't have to go from doing nothing to jumping off a cliff. There's this whole protocol that we put in place that really, as I said, puts the signal in there that allows us to begin to trust
Hmm.
that we can heal.
And that's really good, learning how to trust our bodies again. I haven't heard it quite put that way, but it's so true. I mean, we've lived with trauma in our life if we're on medications, and coming off can be like a real scary thing. It's like starting all over again, of learning how to live your life in a different way that isn't dependent on a medication, right?
Right. And I think we've believed that because somebody wears a white coat, that they're believable, that they know something about us that we don't know. But what this protocol does is it allows you to trust in your own intuition and your own safety,
Mhm.
because nobody can tell you more about you than you.
Mhm.
I've been trying to encourage a young woman who's tapering at the moment to trust that she actually knows the answer and not her doctor.
Mhm.
That's another reframe.
Yes, that is a reframe. It's a mindset too, um, to turn around the old belief systems that we need to listen to doctors and take that at face value, when really we can ask questions, we can research, we can find out, is this really good for me? How am I feeling on it? Asking, being curious. um, I would never ever say to stop seeing your doctor or anything like that, but creating a different dialogue with him is something that you can do for yourself, is create a different dialogue so that you're educating them, asking them to help you to understand what is going on with your body, mind, and spirit. Yes.
Very much. And I think, again, say we might be educating them because informed consent was not offered to me when I was put on these medications. No one told me how difficult it was going to be to come off and what the side effects were going to be. And I only realized some of the side effects well after the time. You know, there's a long list, the length of my arm, that's are some of the withdrawal effects of coming off these medications if you do them too quickly.
Mm,
So the signal of safety is important, and asking the doctor for the package insert. Can I see what I'm going to be taking so that because the side effects are listed there
mm,
for
mm.
every drug that we have, including vaccines. The side effects are listed. So we need to be informed before we take it.
Yes, yes, it certainly is. It's very it's this is such a really interesting topic. I just find it one of the things I find it interesting is that um, there's so many women that are on these medications, and their family and friends and um, people that we work with every day, and they're functioning within this place on a medication that they may have been on for years.
But
It
Robin, don't you think that as children we're not taught how to handle difficult emotions? We didn't have an adult with us to co-regulate. So when there was fear or alarm or anger or rage or you were scared of something, often there wasn't an adult there. And these traumas have caused us to become depressed and anxious. And we're medicating what's really normal human emotions. We no longer have a tribe around us. We don't have elders that we can go to. And, I mean, I think, I consider myself an elder now, but, and I would love to be helping younger people. But I think we need to be working with perimenopausal and menopausal women who are struggling with this because we can still work through these emotions now.
Mhm. Yes, yes. And, even if we are the ages, the 40s, 50s, and 60s, we educate ourselves every day. We learn to work on our mindset. We learn to reframe how we're feeling and what our emotions are and start paying attention to us. We've been caregivers for so long that now is a time that we get to nurture ourselves. And that is a real important thing for us as women to understand that it is important. And maybe it's just small steps. Maybe you take that 20 minutes a day and read a book or have a quiet time or rest or um, it's okay to take a nap in the middle of the day. I do. And, these are things that eating better, getting out and movement, exercising. And exercise comes in so many different ways now. It's not just, going to a gym. It can be just taking a walk for 20 minutes every day, just starting there, you know. So
Mm,
it's interesting painting the picture of
right.
what health looks like.
And knowing when somebody's ready to begin the taper, what are the signs that we know that are in place? And when she's experiencing consistent energy during the day, sleeping well, having regular bowel movements, and feeling emotionally stable for at least 4 to 6 weeks, and being able to handle normal life stresses without feeling completely overwhelmed.
Mm,
And looking at the support system, do they have people in their life who understand and support this journey? Unfortunately, I didn't. And, so I've had some relationships dissolve because people were questioning, what am I doing and why am I doing this? I was supposedly, I think I was emotionally blunted from these drugs. And so, since tapering, I'm more emotional, I'm more alive. And I think that that's what's been important in this.
mm. Yes, yes, it's reclaiming your life back
Mhm.
again.
Yeah,
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 it is. That's amazing. Well, I know that one of the support tools that we have is the Women's Menopause Support Group on Facebook. And that is an amazing group. We have care providers like Bev, like myself, that we're there. We're very accessible. reaching out and just helping, having a conversation. Um, the Minawave group is minawave.org is another place where you can go and get connected to care providers, have conversations, learn, find out, ask questions because that's what we're here for. Gwen Harris is the most amazing lady that she started this Minawave group for women in menopause because at the time, and this was, I want to say, has it been 10 years, maybe 7, 8 years
I
ago?
think it's about 13 years ago when she
13 years.
started. Mhm.
Yes, I mean the conversation was very little. There wasn't a lot of information out there, and so it was brave women like Gwen that started these Facebook groups, and now we're having these national conversations. So it's so wonderful to have you, Bev, talking from this point of view, because I think a lot of women need to hear this message.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Hmm. It
I'm
is.
grateful to be here to help assist some of them to regain their life.
Yes. So, are there any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners today if they're in this place where they're on medications? What do they need to know?
Well, I think, uh, to question where they've come from, we need education of our medical profession. They don't have any nutrition background, they don't know lifestyle medicine, and they don't know safe tapering protocols. And, they should be required to discuss long-term effects and withdrawal risks before they prescribe these drugs that are at their fingertips. They just have their prescription pad there. That's the easiest thing they can do in the 15-minute time slot that you're allotted. And we need longer appointment times so that they can actually listen to the patient's full stories. Do they know whether this person lost their job or is going through a divorce or had a loss in their life, a loved one die? To just put someone on medication for that, I don't think is the right way. We need to be dealing with these emotions in a responsible way because I think putting people on prescription medication like this is irresponsible, in my
Mm,
personal opinion, because we don't realize the long-term effects. And we need to rebuild community support systems and recognize that many health issues are actually normal responses to abnormal circumstances. And
mm,
insurance doesn't cover functional medicine approaches. It only covers pharmaceutical interventions, and I don't think that's fair either.
mm,
And women need to be empowered with education about how their bodies work, especially during hormonal transitions. And I think that's what this group in particular is focused on. And I'm
mm,
very grateful to become a provider here.
mm. Well, we are so grateful that you are here. We are blessed to have your expertise and your talents and your story and just letting women out there know that they're not alone, that there are people here that care and want to help and that it's important that they have a community of women to reach out to and talk to. Thank you so much, Bev. How can women work with you or find you?
So my website is www.bevmackenzie, spelled MacKenzie.com. And I'm on Instagram at Health Coach Bev. That's health underscore coach underscore Bev. And I'm at Bev Vivia Mackenzie on Facebook.
Oh, that's awesome. And we will have those in the show notes below. So reach out to Bev, go on to the Facebook or the Instagram, connect, learn, educate, because that's what we're here for. If this has if this podcast has helped anybody or you know somebody that it can help, please feel reach out, send it to them, connect, subscribe, let us know in the comments what you think, and keep coming back. We have great care providers here, and every podcast is an educational, fun, enjoyable, and educational once again. Topics that we talk about pertaining to menopause. Well, that's it for us today. Thank you for coming to the Minawave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations. You all have a great day.
Thanks, Robin.